From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
Good morning. This is Mornings LALATE with breaking news this morning about your fourth stimulus check, those monthly stimulus checks that Senate Democrats and House Democrats want to give you. This is the biggest payout you ever see in the history of this channel. I have the latest update and the counterproposal that came in from the Republicans yesterday. What does that counterproposal say? It says reconciliation. But what was the president's response? You're going to be surprised to hear it in this recording. Meantime, I'll be cutting over to the incredible great news about SSI, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad Benefits reform. That's coming under fifth stimulus in September. A major push to change your benefits, increase your benefits astronomically right now, and then increase them annually thereafter. I have the big update about that as well. Meantime, in this recording, also big updates about student loan debt forgiveness, the business grants, the $6,000 that Ron Wyden wants to give you, and other big money happening across the board. It's a big morning. I also debut to you the brand new, beautiful Cadillac that's electric. This is Mornings LALATE. Wonderful morning. It's a little bit dark here in Los Angeles, but what a beautiful morning it is. Thank you for joining me on Mornings LALATE, the start of our live programming schedule today on this channel. What a big day. In this recording, I'm going to go over four stimulus, those monthly stimulus checks, the amount, how soon, how would you get them, the routing, the push, the Republican twist at happening today. And then I'll be cutting over to SSI SSDI reform and the major surprise that came for that will be coming in September. Then the incredible push from Elizabeth Warren for the wealth tax bill that could pay the $2,400 of SSI and SSDI, the business grants, the student loan debt forgiveness, and a little bit more. And also a beautiful new electric vehicle. Thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We finally made it to 394,000 subscribers. We're just a few thousand away from 400,000. It's our 1-year anniversary on April 25th, so help us get there. Make sure you subscribe to this video, subscribe to this channel. Also like this video. Try to do 3,000 likes. It really helps in the algorithm ranking. And if you've not become a member, today may be the day you want to become one. Yesterday delivered to you the Elizabeth Warren new letter, the Ron Wyden PDF, the Mitt Romney new bill, and a lot of other new bills and letters that were debuted in just the last 24 hours. It was a big paper day yesterday, so make sure you become a member. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news starts with fourth stimulus. Fourth stimulus is a package that the Democratic House members and the Democratic Senate members want to put and will put in monthly stimulus checks from either now to the end of this year or 18 months thereafter. It starts by a reconciliation process, but that process has not started. The president is trying to do the optics of bipartisan negotiations. So what happened yesterday with the president and those bipartisan negotiations? About 3 weeks ago, Roy Blount, who is the #1 Senate Republican on transportation, said, I'm not doing the president's $2 trillion price tag for the fourth stimulus package. I'll do about $600 billion, and I'll just do infrastructure, and we won't change the tax code. The president said, no, I'm not doing that. I have to have money for climate. Well, guess what happened? Yesterday, the president met with a series of GOP leaders, and those included Shelley Moore Capito, Republican out of West Virginia, who I actually detailed to you on Saturday and Sunday. Her verbal counteroffer that over the weekend was $800 billion. So what did she say yesterday? She met and formally gave a formal Republican counteroffer. And what was it? Exactly what they've been saying for 4 weeks. 600 or 800 billion, no money for climate, no changes to the tax code, take it or leave it. The president said, leave it. I'm not doing that. And in fact, he actually instructed them to come up with another counterproposal. This is all great news for reconciliation. Remember, reconciliation is a process that gives you those monthly stimulus checks. But there was one line in a new political report out today that is not the president on record. It's not the press secretary on record. In fact, it's not an aide on record. Rather, it says that after the president heard Capito say that it's $600, $800 billion as a counterproposal, he allegedly said, come back to me with a counteroffer by mid-May. Hell no. Can I see in the comments right now a big hell no? We are not waiting to mid-May for a counteroffer. No. We have heard the counteroffer for 4 weeks. It is $600, $800 billion. They have not moved a penny. It's time to start reconciliation right now. We're not waiting till mid-May. And let's jump right to the graphic to understand why we have to start this right now. Now, remember, this is not a statement on the record by the president, and it's not a statement on the record by a press secretary. But even so, we're not playing games here, people. We are getting going. Let's look at what's at issue here. The House members want you to have a stimulus check from now through the pandemic and then 1 year thereafter. So they want to give you about 18 months at least of stimulus checks. The senators want to give you stimulus checks from now to December. Who are the shakers and movers at issue? One of the things I want to tell you for the first time in this recording about this is that the House members are progressives and the senators are the core of the Democratic Party. But this is something new I want to tell you. Those Senate Democrats really have a lot of other things they want to get done. They really have a lot of other things they want to get done, and they don't want to get them done in a standalone bill. They want to add them into this reconciliation bill when it gets in their office. They want to add a lot of other things, whether it's raising minimum wage, or whether it's the wealth tax bill, or whether it's student loan debt forgiveness. They want to add a lot of other things in here. So they're just as anxious as you and I am, the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats, to add the items they have been wanting to add in for a while. Remember, packages are the best ways for Democrats to add things into bills so that they don't have to go through standalone single bickering for months. It's a way to slide something in, whether it's a new bridge for Nancy or new building for another person. They like to slide things in. So they certainly want this bill to start by reconciliation as soon as possible, as much as you and I do. And then let's go to that monthly amount. The House members want to pay you $1,000 a month after the first month. The senators, the amount is unknown on a monthly basis, but word on the street says it's about this. Either $2,000 a month, which would over 6 months would be $12,000, or $1,400 a month, which over 6 months would be $8,400. $2,000 over 6 months is $12,000, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. This is the single biggest payout you have ever seen in the history of this channel, and it will happen as soon as they start recon. They just got to start it. Now, here's one of the things you need to know. First, you may have in the back of your head a series of questions, so let me answer these questions, which I've seen before. One, does getting all this money throw me off of SSI benefits? No, it's not income. And it's not a taxable event, and it does not trigger the threshold of how much assets you're allowed to keep in the bank at a given time. Number two, people have asked me, how would they actually send the money out, LLA? Well, in 2020, Warren and Harris proposed a solution, which I think they likely go with, which is they send you a debit card, and then the debit card is replenished with funds every month. Then people have also asked me, what month would the first check go out? Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi have both confirmed that the vote would be July 4th, no later. Now, you want the vote earlier than that, but let's just even use that benchmark. That means the first check would be a July month check for the month of July and would start to land around July 14th, and then a check every month. So this is how they would do it. Now, with that came the confusion and the questions about, well, it seems sort of like a large amount of money, LLA. Do you think the president wants to do that amount of money? It just seems sort of large. The answer is it's small compared to what the president wants to do in September. Here you go. Yesterday, we learned that the president wants to spend, after the $3 trillion now for forced stimulus, an additional $1 trillion in September for what's called the fifth stimulus package. Under the fifth stimulus package, the president wants to put in a child credit. And boy, are you ready to hear how much he wants to spend on children in September. Not you, but children. In September, he is reportedly wanting to include in the fifth stimulus package $300 a month for every child 17 or younger for this year, which is year one, and 5 more years. 6 years of $300 a month every month for a child 17 or younger. No limit on the number of children in the household. This would be $30,000, $40,000. He has no qualms giving them $34,000, $40,000, so he is not going to veto anything from the House Democrats that gives you $8,000. Not any way or how. So don't worry that it looks like it's a big amount of money compared to 2020. It's not a big amount of money compared to what's in the fifth stimulus. To which you may ask, what is fifth stimulus? What is fourth stimulus? These names sound confusing. Let me clarify them. The fourth stimulus package has other names like the American Jobs Plan, the AGP, the Infrastructure Bill, or formerly called the Recovery Act. The fifth stimulus is in the fall, and it does have a name. It's called the America Family Plan. And later in this recording, I'm going to go over the incredible big news, incredible great news, that SSI SSDI Social Security Railroad Benefits reform is coming in the fifth stimulus. Yes, it's really great news. So let me circle back. Oh no, did I say that? We have a range of things to cover in this recording. You and then you. Let me circle back to the other items I want to cover for these monthly stimulus checks. These monthly stimulus checks need to start now, relatively soon, because it takes 2 months to do a reconciliation process, at least. Viewers yesterday saying, LA, can they do this recon less than 2 months? Here's my opinion. First, I'm not a legislator, so I absolutely have no idea how quickly they can do it. But I know the third stimulus package was 300 pages long, and that took a full 2 months. This bill will not be 300 pages long. It'll be 3,000 pages long. Why? Because the third stimulus package was not a new bill. It was a modification of previous first stimulus. Meaning, for example, you would look under one section and say, we go back to CARES Act 1 of March 2020, and we extend it for another 4 months. New provision. We go to the next section, and we extend it for another 2 months. There was not a lot of writing involved. It was all extending previous written stuff. Well, this time, guess what they're doing? They're doing roads, bridges, highways, infrastructure, and modifying the tax code. Yeah, that's a lot of pages. And while you may talk about how contentious it may be in negotiations, I'm just even saying it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to write all this stuff. So you could certainly expect a full 2 months to get this done. July 4th, May 4th, yeah, you see how we're just sort of knocking on that door. So you don't, while that report was off the record, no one saying it verbally, you don't want the president waiting around for a counterproposal for the Republicans. So instead of $800 billion, they come in at $820 billion 5 weeks from now, and then suddenly you can't do recon. Now, here's what you need to know. Chuck Schumer, this is not his first ride at the pony rides. He has done this before. In fact, he told the president this in January. You cannot have your opponent cause you to delay to start a reconciliation process. You can continue to talk to them, but you need to start your recon sooner rather than later. Because ultimately, if you don't start your recon by a date, you can't do it. You have to start it by a date. And if you were with me in early January, there was a week in which Nancy and Chuck Lilly said, we have to start now. You have to start now. You can keep on talking to people, but you have to start now. We're not at that deadline yet, but Purple Power, viewers of this channel, do your thing. You gotta push, starting ASAP. Meantime, incredible big news. As SSI reform is heating up, $6,000 of assistance for PUA people is heating up. The student loan debt forgiveness, I'm going to twist back and cover that as well. The wealth tax bill gets a major new update. That's the item that provides money for things like SSI of $2,400. I have big updates about the business grants and more. All those details are coming up in just a second. Stay with me as Mornings LA continues in just 60 seconds. Drop your comments during the commercial break and I may answer them. I'll be back in about 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues in 2 hours from now with Noontime LALATE. You're currently watching Mornings LALATE, a live broadcast direct from Santa Monica. We're back in 2 hours from now with Noontime LALATE. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Afternoons LALATE, 2 hours after that. We have a full room. I see Christine and Colleen and Ann and Lynn and Tina and Nancy and John. How are you? And there's Linda. Big updates across the board. I'm so excited you for joining me. And this is Mornings LALATE. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Boy, I am excited to just deliver to you the best news you have ever heard about SSI and SSDI, Social Security Railroad Benefits Reform. Remember, during the president's campaign trail, during his transition papers, during Elizabeth Warren's transition campaign trail, 3 items were promised. The first one was changing the benchmark for benefits, currently tied to COLA, not increasing every year. Remember, every December your benefits are reassessed, and those benefits stay relatively flat because COLA is flat. Number 2, increasing your benefits lifetime. Number 3, a potential change to the whole system as an overhaul. And number 4, potentially $2,400 of SSI as a COVID relief item. Well, guess what? Yesterday, you got the incredible, jaw-dropping, great news that hit with a major letter written to the President of the United States, signed by dozens of leaders like Warren and others, that called for massive SSI reform that would go in the 5th stimulus this winter. Oh my goodness. The major SSI reform is being pushed now by congressional leaders to go in the 5th stimulus bill this September. Let me go over the big items and what they want to do. First, they want to do a major lift of your benefits. They believe your benefits are currently set to 1984 numbers, and they want everyone's benefits one time lifted an astronomical amount, somewhere about 100% a one-time lift. Then they want the annual benefits in December reassessed based upon a new benchmark. That's what I talked about just a few seconds ago. No longer COLA, and actually not CPIE, but rather inflation. This is an easy one because inflation is always 2 to 4%, so you can just count that your benefits would increase about 2 to 4% every year. And finally, they want to increase your asset limits so you can hold more cash on hand and not disqualify off benefits. They're not done there yet. They also want to eliminate the income exclusion and start it over as a new idea. Basically, the income exclusion is currently tied to 1960 numbers about how much money you can work and stay on benefits. They want to throw that number out and start over with a massive, huge new number, allowing you to work and still be on benefits. And then they want to get rid of the marriage penalty. Now, this is huge, huge, great news. Everyone has been asking me, when are we going to get our benefits increased? When are we going to have the new benchmark? This is it. Where is it? fifth stimulus. When? September. The America Family Plan, the AFP, the fifth stimulus from the president. This is where it's going to go. It's very, very exciting. Now, you may be wondering, what about the $2,400, which is a one-time item, $200 a month? Here's what you need to know. As an SSI recipient, the multiple stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package is nearly 10 times that amount, and it's for you. If you make less than $75,000, it's for you. If you're on SSI, it's for you. You want to get behind that because that is definitely happening. The $2,400 of SSI and SSDI, well, it's per month, and it's $200 a month, and we're already at April. Could it still happen? Maybe. Why? Because Elizabeth Warren wrote that big letter yesterday to Leon Cooperman asking him to come to Congress to discuss what? Her wealth tax bill. And her wealth tax bill was what she promised on the campaign for president that would pay for the $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. Wow. So she introduced that wealth tax bill in January. You heard it first on this channel. She said the wealth tax bill would pay for the $2,400 of SSI. And we hadn't heard from her about it in a couple of weeks. Now she wrote a new letter, which members of this channel have, and she asked Cooperman to attend. He's not going to attend. But the great news is that she's now putting that wealth tax bill front page and center. So to recap, the President Warren wanted 4 things for you for SSI reform. 1, to increase your benefits enormously. That's covered in that letter. 2, check that off the list. That's in the letter. Number 2, have a new benchmark to increase your benefits after that every year. That's in the letter. Check that off the list. 3rd, to reform the system for things like income exclusions and asset exclusion. That's on the list. Check that off the letter. And finally, the $2,400. Hard to say, but at least for now, there's a push to give you that massive money of fourth stimulus. Let's go back to that number for fourth stimulus. This is the biggest single payout that any viewer of this channel has ever seen for stimulus since this pandemic started. It is based upon an incredible concept of just paying stimulus checks every month until the pandemic is over or until the end of this year. And here's that graphic again. $2,000 a month, $12,000, or $1,400 a month, $8,400. Incredible, great news. Let's now go to the other big breaking news today is the question about what happened to those other Elizabeth Warren bills. What happened to those other Elizabeth Warren bills? Well, first, the student loan debt forgiveness. The bill of it not happening with a lot of traction yet because Warren and Schumer are putting behind the efforts behind the student loan debt forgiveness executive order. That memo from Miguel Cardona about forgiving your student loan debt was due last Friday. Hasn't been delivered. Hasn't been delivered. I know Schumer's not happy with the fact that it hasn't been delivered. So I'm going to stay on this subject and stay with you and ensure that that memo is produced. Remember, the memo's purpose is to determine whether a president can forgive student loan debt by executive order. Obama did it, Trump did it, Biden could do it. Number 2, Elizabeth Warren's standalone bill for wealth tax. Very big news. It's going to heat up in a congressional hearing next week. I'll have live coverage of that as it heats up. 3rd, Ron Wyden. Ron Wyden has that incredible $6,000 he wants to give you. It's $6,000 and it's every single year. How does it work? UI, PUA, FPUC, and other instruments from first stimulus are set to expire in September. They're going away. So Wyden doesn't want PUA to go away. What he wants to do is provide a replacement, lifetime, not tied to COVID. It would never expire. The concept is very simple. If you're a PUA person, you can get $250 a week up to 6 months per year, as often as you so need it. So if you have a problem with your work next year, you can get that benefit from the federal government. And it's $250 a week for 6 months or $6,000 each year. Incredible good news. Incredible, big, great news. Meantime, what is the president doing tomorrow and Friday? If you didn't think that it's so obvious what's going on for reconciliation, tomorrow the president's going to have a major climate conference, which I don't think any Republicans going to be attending. And that climate conference will basically signal that the president needs to do reconciliation because the Republicans have said, we're not giving you any money for climate. So that is Thursday and Friday. Meantime, what's happening with the business grants. Well, the shuttered venue grant has not yet gone live. They've had problems with the computer system. The $5,000 for the EI deal grant has not gone live. No explanation about that one yet. And then the remainder of your $10,000 EI deal grant from 2020 is being paid out. If you're a March 2021 responder to that invite to increase your benefit, to increase to 10,000, and you've not heard back, you're stuck in a vortex, they're getting into it. The PPP grant is about to announce as well. Meantime, some fun and exciting and weird news, because I gotta cover this as well, is starting with the surprise about this. Oh my goodness. As sirloin say, what is that? It's a Cadillac, or sirloin would call it something else. If you know what sirloin calls, then certainly drop in the comments. It's the new Cadillac. And the importance of showing you this Cadillac is not to just talk about the beauty of the car, but to tell you what happened with the announcement of the car today. The car is electric. And with the announcement of the car, Cadillac said, we are going to go all electric by 2030, GM by 2035, and could be even earlier. This is after other auto manufacturers like Volvo have said we're going to go all electric as well. It's very important to understand this because automakers are going to go to 100% electric vehicles in just a very short period of time. So that's why the fourth stimulus package is so important. If you can imagine in just a short few years from now, the only cars that are going to be sold new are electric, you have to have a way to get from here to New York on a freeway or a highway. And you can't with an electric car unless there's a charging station throughout the interstates every so few miles. That shows the importance of doing EV, electric vehicle, charging stations everywhere. As a nation moves to electric vehicles, that's very important. Also, very bizarre news, and I really have to cover this because I don't think I've seen a story more peculiar than this. On Sunday, I told you that the series of British, Spanish, and Italian teams had announced that they were leaving their respective leagues, or at least delegations, to start what was going to be called the European Soccer League. And this was announced Sunday. Yesterday, by Tuesday, it fell apart. In 48 hours, it fell apart. Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Arsenal, all the English teams have pulled out. The Italian teams are reported to pull out today as well. Now, why bring this up for purposes of you? It shows that sometimes politicians don't focus on what they're supposed to focus on. The news came today that the head of England, Boris Johnson, reacted to the news about the soccer move in literally minutes after it happened, but didn't respond to how to deal with the pandemic and COVID and the economy when that happened. And this is the commentary today from how political leaders sometimes respond to things less important about you than other things. Kit Yates, advisor to the independent SAG group, says, if only the government of England response to the pandemic had been as fast as the response to the football crisis, we might have been in a different position. It's not one, but it's one of many comments that says they responded pretty well and fast to this football crisis, if only they had done that for stimulus and also COVID. Thank you for joining me on a Big Mornings LALATE. I'm back with you in a series of big programs across us today. Let me show you the programming schedule. New show every 2 hours. Noontime is live in 2 hours from now, followed by afternoons LALATE, 2 hours after that, 4 p.m. These are all Eastern Standard Time shows. Very easy to remember because it's a new show every 2 hours. We're on mornings now, then noon, then afternoons. Then 2 hours after that, start the great tape shows. They're newly taped today. Afternoons at 6 p.m., I'm in the live chat. Evenings at 8 p.m., I'm in the live chat. And then the irreverent, non-informational, humor-only broadcast, LA Late Night at 10 p.m. And I see Art in the room. There's Colleen, and there's Robert, and there's Kathy, and there's Sandy. Robert says MSC by June. I don't think so. I think by July. I think by July, the stimulus checks is more likely. June, because it involves a tax code, I don't think they can get this. I don't think they can write it this fast. If this was just a stimulus bill, they could absolutely get it by June. But I think that modifying a tax code is a very difficult task. And I think it's going to take a lot of weeks to get to actually modify the items. So I think your first check would be a July check. Great question. And there's Phaedra, there's Kimberly, and there's Margie. So with that, if you have not liked this video, even if you're a member, remember to like the video. 2,000-3,000 likes, it really helps. And help us to get to 400,000 subscribers. Our 1-year anniversary, April 25th, just a few days away. If you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, have a beautiful morning, and I'll see you next later today on LA.